Praise be to you, Yahuwah my Elohim. Praise be to your Son, Yahushua my Messiah. I come at your feet in the name of your Son. Thank you for the knowledge you pour unto me, and thank you for breaking all the shackle that was bound on my face. Yahuwah, you are the only true living God. Thank you for your Yahushua, whom you truly love. You are Elohim, the Elohim of the Yahudim.
Shalom Mashpaka. Welcome back to the Remnant Awakens. To all the family, all the supporters of this ministry, and all the subscribers who have been standing with me, praying for me, encouraging me, and pushing this work forward, I truly appreciate you. In the last episode, we dealt with Pillar 1, the SAPAR DABARAYM. We established that the moral words of Yahuwah still stand. They were never the bondage. Sin was the bondage. Rebellion was the bondage. And now we move into Pillar 2. Pillar 2 is the dietary boundaries. And this is another place where religion trained people to think backwards. People act like Yahuwah is deeply concerned about worship, speech, and spiritual language, but not concerned about what enters the body. People act like obedience matters in one area, but suddenly becomes optional when appetite is involved. But covenant does not work like that. Yahuwah defines what is clean. Yahuwah defines what is unclean. Yahuwah defines what is fit for his people and what is not. And the issue here is not just food. The issue is separation. The issue is order. The issue is whether the covenant people will let Yahuwah decide the boundary or whether they will let appetite decide. Because once appetite becomes your teacher, obedience starts dying in quiet ways. And before we go deeper, take a second to like this episode, comment, and share it with somebody who needs covenant clarity. Because this is not just content, this is restoration. Let us open in Palal. Ata. Anabal Panaik, Yahuwah. Anashub el Yahuwah, Bilab Tamyam. Barak Sham Yahuwah. Halal Yahuwah. Yadah Yahuwah. Yahuwah Ata Alwa. Yahuwah Ata Alayan. Yahuwah Ata Qadash. Yahuwah Ata Tsadak. Rakham na Alay. Yahuwah Azarna. Yahuwah Tahar Labyai. Lamadyai Darak Ke. Shamar Labyai. Shamar Baithyai. Natan Kuach l Shamar Baraitka. Natan Kuach l Halak Bidarakka. Baraksham Yahuwah Tamyam. Baraksham Yahusha Tamyam. Amen. Now let us begin with the root witness. Let's read SAPAR WAYAQRA, Leviticus chapter 11. And Yahuwah spoke unto Masha and to Aharun, saying unto them, Speak unto the children of Yashar'al, saying, These are the beasts which ye shall eat among all the beasts that are on the arat. Whatsoever parteth the hoof, and is cloven-footed, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that shall ye eat. Nevertheless, these shall ye not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the hoof, as the camel, and the coney, and the hare. For they chew the cud, but divide not the hoof. Therefore they are unclean unto you. And the swine, though he divide the hoof, and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. Of their flesh shall ye not eat, and their carcass shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you. These shall ye eat of all that are in the maim. Whatsoever hath fins and scales in the maim, waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. And all that have not fins and scales in the seas, and in the rivers, of all that move in the maim, and of any living thing which is in the maim, they shall be an abomination unto you. For I am Yahuwah, your Alwa. Ye shall therefore Kadash yourselves, and ye shall be Kadash, for I am Kadash. Neither shall ye defile yourselves with any creeping thing that creepeth upon the arat. For I am Yahuwah, that bringeth you up out of the land of Matzaraim to be your Aluah. Ye shall therefore be Kadash, for I am Kadash. That is not random culture. That is not man-made diet tradition. That is covenant separation. Notice how Yahuwah speaks. He does not say, choose what feels right. He does not say, as long as your heart is sincere, anything is fine. He defines the categories himself. Clean means clean because Yahuwah said so. Unclean means unclean because Yahuwah said so. That matters, because the dietary boundaries teach a people to stop living by appetite and start living by obedience. They teach restraint. They teach separation. They teach that the covenant people do not get to decide for themselves what Yahuwah already defined. Do you hear that? The issue is not taste. The issue is trust. Will I trust the order of Yahuwah, or will I trust my own desire? Now let us hear the witness again in SAPAR DABARAYM, Deuteronomy chapter 14. Thou art a Kadash people unto Yahuwah thy Aluah, and Yahuwah hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself, above all the nations that are upon the face of the Arat. Thou shalt not eat any abominable thing. These are the beasts which ye shall eat: the ox, the sheep, and the goat, the hart, and the roebuck, and the fallow deer, and the wild goat, and the pygarg, and the wild ox, and the chamois, and every beast that parteth the hoof, and cleaveth the cleft into two claws, and cheweth the cud among the beasts, that ye shall eat. Nevertheless, these ye shall not eat of them that chew the cud, or of them that divide the cloven hoof, as the camel, and the hare, and the coney. For they chew the cud, but divide not the hoof. Therefore they are unclean unto you. And the swine, because it divideth the hoof, yet cheweth not the cud, it is unclean unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, nor touch their dead carcass. These ye shall eat of all that are in the maim. All that have fins and scales shall ye eat. And whatsoever hath not fins and scales ye may not eat. It is unclean unto you. There it is again. The same witness, the same boundaries, the same separation. And notice this, the dietary boundaries are connected to identity. Thou art a Kadash people. In other words, the food law is not floating by itself. It is tied to what kind of people Yahuwah called them to be. That destroys another lie of religion, the lie that food has nothing to do with covenant life. But no, it has everything to do with whether you accept that Yahuwah has the right to define your boundaries. And this is exactly why people get uncomfortable here. Because food is emotional. Family habits are emotional. Culture is emotional. Tradition is emotional. Appetite is emotional. But covenant is not built on emotion. Covenant is built on obedience. So let me make it plain. If Yahuwah says something is unclean, then it is unclean. It does not become clean because a church says so. It does not become clean because society normalizes it. It does not become clean because someone wants it badly enough. And now, we need to deal with one of the biggest areas of confusion. People often run to later passages and try to use them to overturn what Yahuwah already defined. But the question is this: did Yahushua Mashiach come to cancel what his father called unclean? The answer is no. Let us hear what Yahushua actually says in SAPAR YAHUKHANAN, John chapter 14. If ye love me, shamar my matzwahaim. He that hath my matzwahaim and shamar them, he it is that loveth me. If a man love me, he will shamar my words. He that loveth me, not shamar not my sayings. That is covenant language. Yahushua joins love and obedience. He does not separate them. He does not train people to rebel against the order of his father. So if someone says, I love Yahushua, but I do not need to guard what Yahuwah established, that person is speaking against the pattern of the Mashiach. And if someone says, the renewed covenant means I can now ignore what Yahuwah once called unclean, that person is assuming cancellation where scripture never gave permission to cancel. Now let us deal with a passage many people twist. Ma'ashaim, Acts chapter 10. People often take Kappa's vision and pretend it was about YAHUAH cleaning unclean meats. But if you keep reading, the chapter explains itself. The vision was not about animals becoming food. The vision was about men from the nations no longer being called common or unclean when YAHUAH had opened the door to them. So no, that chapter does not overturn YAHUAH, Leviticus chapter 11. It explains the gathering of people, not the cleansing of swine. Now let us hear Sha'al correctly. Let's read SAPAR RUMAYM, Romans chapter 3 verse 31. Do we then make void the Torah, law instruction, through faith? Let it not be. Yea, we establish the Torah, law instruction. That matters deeply here. Faith does not erase the order of YAHUAH. Faith establishes it. So if a doctrine tells you to use faith as a weapon against obedience, that doctrine is already twisted. And now let us hear YAHUKHANAN. Let's read the witness from SAPAR YAHUKHANAN, James chapter 2. If ye fulfill the royal Torah according to the scripture, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself, ye do well. But if ye have respect to persons, ye commit sin, and are convinced of the Torah as transgressors. For whosoever shall shamar the whole Torah, and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all. So speak ye, and so do, as they that shall be judged by the Torah of liberty. Even so faith, if it hath not ma'ashaim, is dead, being alone. For as the body without the ruach is dead, so faith without ma'ashaim is dead also. Do you hear the pattern? Faith is not being set against obedience. Faith is being shown through obedience. Faith is not a license for appetite. Faith is not a shield for compromise. Faith without ma'ashayim is dead. So when people say, I believe, but they refuse the boundaries YAHUAH spoke, what are they actually saying? They are saying their appetite has more authority than the voice of YAHUAH. And that is dangerous. Because Pillar 2 is not just about food. Pillar 2 is about whether you will let YAHUAH order your life in the areas that are private, daily, normal, and easy to excuse. Anybody can speak big spiritual words. But what do you do at the table? What do you normalize in your house? What do you excuse in your private life? What have you made peace with that YAHUAH called unclean? That is where this pillar confronts people. Because the dietary boundaries protect more than the body. They protect the habit of obedience. They train a person to submit in ordinary things. And if a person refuses YAHUAH in ordinary things, why would they suddenly obey him in heavier things? Disobedience grows quietly. It starts with small permissions. It starts with appetite. It starts with, it is not that deep. It starts with, YAHUAH does not care about that. And before long, the whole fence is broken. But YAHUAH did care enough to speak about it. He did care enough to define it. He did care enough to separate clean from unclean. So the covenant people do not get to call common what YAHUAH separated, and they do not get to call clean what YAHUAH called unclean. So let us ask the hard questions. Do I let appetite rule me? Do I call tradition truth just because I grew up with it? Do I use religion to excuse disobedience? Do I really trust the order of YAHUAH? Do I really believe that what he says is better than what I want? Because that is what Pillar 2 exposes. Not just what is on your plate, but who is ruling your life. And my answer is this: the dietary boundaries still matter. Not because food saves you, not because man is made righteous by food, but because obedience matters, separation matters, guarding what YAHUAH spoke matters. So my message in this episode is simple. Guard the dietary boundaries. Stop calling unclean clean. Stop using appetite as doctrine. Stop using religion to cancel what YAHUAH established. And return to Pillar 2 with honesty, humility, and covenant fear. Pillar 2 is the dietary boundaries, and the dietary boundaries still stand. Let us close in palal. Tuda Rabah YAHUAH al-Khay, Tuda Rabah al-Barait, Tuda Rabah al-Rakham Ukhan, Rakham na alay YAHUAH, Azarna YAHUAH, Tahar labye Qadashwi, Lamadi Daraki, Shamar labye, Shamar Baithi, Natsar Daraki, Natsali min Ra, Nathan Kuakhal Shamar Barait ke, Nathan Kuakhal Halak Bidarak ke, Barak Sham Yahuah Tamyam, Barak Sham Yahusha Tamyam. Amen. If this episode opened your eyes, gave you clarity, or sharpened your understanding, do not keep it to yourself. Like, comment, share, and go read the witnesses for yourself. YAHUKHANAN 11, Dabaraym 14, YAHUKHANAN 14, Rumaym 3:31, and YAHUKHANAN 2. Until next time, Shalom family, and see you all on the next episode of this covenant series.
Praise be to you, Yahuwah my Elohim. Praise be to your Son, Yahushua my Messiah. I come at your feet in the name of your Son. Thank you for the knowledge you pour onto me, and thank you for breaking all the shackle that was bound on my face. Yahuwah, you are the only true living God. Indeed. Thank you for your Yahusha, whom you truly love. You are Elohim.